The preseason is the best time for climbing and improvement, and as a result, it's also going to be the best time for you to get yourself out of ELO hell. I'm sure you guys know what it's like where every other game you queue up, your team feeds and it feels like you have no power to carry, and as a result, you're only able to win half of your games. Now, I've climbed through these ELOs myself personally countless amounts of times, so I'm going to give you some of the tips that really helped me, especially the first time climbing through these ELOs. Since the preseason is the best time for learning and improvement, you should definitely check out our website, GameLeap.com. There we have hundreds of guides, all done by challenger players, sorted into a quick and easy to use courses system. We have courses both on the 5 fundamental roles, as well as champion specific courses. So if that is something that interests you, make sure to check us out using the link in the description below. Now, what are these tips and rules that I follow so religiously? First and foremost, especially during the preseason, I want to make sure that I'm playing seriously and that I'm playing to win. Yeah, the preseason has tons of fun things to try out, but you shouldn't be trying these things out in ranked. Remember, your ranked MMR will carry over from season to season. Even though your rank is going to be reset, your MMR is going to affect your next placements. If you're just messing around after the season's over, playing games and not even trying to win, then you're definitely going to be negatively impacting your next season's rank. This is something that a lot of people aren't aware about. So if you go into ranked wanting to win, then oftentimes you're going to play against a lot of people who are just messing around, meaning you can get some pretty easy wins for free. Next up is something that you probably didn't see coming at all, but it's communication. You want to master the ping system and communicate any information that you have. When I'm playing through the lower ELOs, oftentimes the map will be so quiet, there won't be pings anywhere. I'd say that in these cases, about 80% of the pings are from myself. The difference for you, however, is that you guys aren't challenger players yourselves, meaning you're not going to be pinging nearly as much as I do. It's not expected for you to have the same map awareness that I have or same macro play. You do want to make sure that you're pinging every time your lane is missing and any time that you see the enemy jungler or if you think a gank might happen. You should also ping assist me and on your way if you are trying to get your jungler to gank for you. Remember, the worst case scenario is that your jungler just doesn't gank for you in that case. Most people in lower ELOs are just not aware of what's going on in the map at all. This is even diamond and below. So if you ping them and you help them out with that, let them know that somebody's coming towards them, then they're less likely to die. You won't have so many teammates going 0 and 10 in the first 15 minutes. You also want to be using the area is warded ping, try to remember where the enemy laner places their wards, and let your jungler know if they're standing on a ward while trying to make a gank happen. The more frequently you're able to get everyone on the team on the same page, the more frequently you're all going to mesh well and have an easy win ahead of you. Now, if you're able to follow these first 2 tips, then you're definitely going to see a lot more success. You might see as big as a 5% increase in your win rate just from these. If you're already following these tips, don't worry, I've got plenty more where they came from. If you guys have a tip to help climb out of ELO hell, then let us know in the comment down below. Next up is taking proper breaks in between losses. Losses are going to happen no matter who you are. Everybody loses and that's okay, it's a part of the game. I always ask myself 3 questions after a loss to make sure I am ready to play the next game. The first question is, do I want to play another or am I too tired to play? If the answer to this is no, I don't want to play another, then I won't play another game. That's that. I'll just do something else or I'll go to bed. A lot of people have the mentality that they need to end on a win, but this is not the case. You're just going to play while you're tired, lowering your chances to win even further, and you might go on a crazy loss streak that you're going to spend the majority of the next day making up. Let me tell you, as a challenger player myself, that I have had this mentality and it never ends well for me. I play much better and I'm much higher rated when I'm okay with ending whether or not it's a win or a loss. The next question that I ask myself after a loss specifically is, am I too tilted to play? Now, this does not mean you are asking yourself how you performed in that game, because that doesn't matter. You could have gone 12-0, lost, and still be very tilted from that. If you are tilted after a loss or even a win, then make sure you go and do something else for 20 to 30 minutes. Give yourself a break to calm down so you're back in a good mindset. Now, the last question that I ask myself after a loss is, was there anything that I could have learned from this game? If I was the reason that we lost, then most likely the answer to this question is going to be yes, so I'm going to watch the game back and see what I could have done better. Personally, I watch a lot of my games back, and I don't just watch them back alone. I'll watch them back with friends, review what I could have done better, what I did really well. That way, when I go into the next game, I've got it in my head what I have been performing well and what needs work. This way, I can focus on those things that need work, and I don't need to focus nearly as much on the things I've been doing well. This allows me to play at a level that's higher than I would normally play at if I didn't watch any of my games back. If I were to just play every single game on autopilot without ever watching any of my games back or looking to improve on anything, I would probably just be your average Diamond 1 player. I wouldn't be anything special. By watching your games back, you can improve the level that you play at by an insane amount. You're also very likely to learn new things about both yourself and the game from watching your games back, meaning you're going to have improvement over the long run too. Next up is duoing, and this kind of ties in with the communication point that I made earlier. You see, when you're duoing, especially when you're using League Voice or Discord, you're going to be able to have so much more information available to you than you would as a single player. You're going to be watching yourself and what you're doing, but your duo is also going to be able to feed you information about what they're doing and what's going on in their lane. This means that you're going to be able to know what's going on in two roles all the time. That's twice as much as what you would normally be able to. And on top of that, you're going to be able to communicate that information as well, something that you normally wouldn't be able to do if you just played solo. If both your duo and yourself are proficient with the ping system, then you're going to be able to climb a lot faster. This will hold true even if you and your duo are just average players for the ELO. By instructing your teammates what to do and what not to do, then you can prevent silly mistakes from happening. That way, you're not going to have any huge feeders on your team. Another one of the huge benefits to duoing is the fact that you get twice as many dodges for free. This is why dodging is going to be our next point. You see, during the preseason, dodging is even better than it would normally be because you don't care about your rating, all you care about is your MMR. Losing 10 LP for a dodge means absolutely nothing when the season's already over and your LP is irrelevant. The only thing that you should care about at this point is your MMR. League points don't mean anything. This means if you're playing into a team comp that you just can't beat, it's too good, they drafted too well, it's okay to dodge. Take -3 or -10, take the 30-minute penalty, and then queue up after. Remember that you don't have an MMR penalty for dodging, whereas losing is a pretty hefty penalty. In fact, it's okay if you dodge so much that your rating is silver, but your MMR is gold. That is entirely okay. Remember, once the season resets, it doesn't matter. You are gold to the system. If you have any trolls on your team, this is also a very good reason to dodge. There's no reason to ever play with somebody that's trying to play Disco Nunu mid or whatever it may be. Now, this next tip is very similar to the first one, but you want to be playing your best champions in ranked to give you the best shot at winning. Remember, just because it's preseason doesn't mean that you should be constantly trying out new champions in ranked. That's fine for normals, and it's something that I do all the time in normals, but ranked should be reserved for only your best picks. Next up, you want to master a specific playstyle, and I've got 2 different playstyles for you. You can pick whichever one you like better. First up is the roaming, more team-reliant playstyle. The main goal of this playstyle is to help your other lanes and make sure that there aren't any losing lanes, or if there are losing lanes, that they're not losing as bad, going 0-10, and just solo losing the game. This playstyle is usually better for support, jungle, and mid lane players. As a jungler, you would put less focus on farming all of your camps and full clearing, and more focus on ganking. It's okay if you trade one camp for a gank, especially if that gank ends up giving you a kill. As a mid laner, you want to be setting up proper roam timers, and we've got a video all about that you can check out, but the basics are you want to make sure that the lane is pushed to the enemy tower before you roam, that way you don't miss out on any EXP or gold while you're roaming. As a support, basically anytime that your ADC bases, as long as you have enough health and mana, and there's not something that you really need to go back to the base in order to buy, you can roam to other lanes. This is why you would rush Moby Boots on support. Now the next playstyle is a more farm-oriented solo carry playstyle. This playstyle works for any role, but it works best for top lane and ADC, or mid lane depending on the type of champion that you're playing there. For top lane, the general goal of this playstyle is to get as much CS as possible. You don't want to miss any CS, and you want to look for solo kills anytime they're available. Tower plates are also very important, so you want to be taking as many of those as possible. Once you do end up taking that first tower, you want to be roaming into the enemy jungle, taking camps whenever you can, while still farming as many waves as possible. As a mid lane, it's pretty similar. Again, farm is going to be your main concern. If you ever can score a solo kill, definitely go for it. Plates, again, very important, but the main difference here is as the mid laner, you have access to both raptor camps. You don't even need to take the tower in order to have access to these raptor camps. So if you're playing a champion with a ton of lane priority, you're constantly shoving to the enemy tower, then definitely look to invade the enemy raptor camp and steal those away. Champions like TF, Akali, Renekton can all take raptor camps really early on into the game, and that's going to give you a huge golden EXP lead. If you clear waves fast enough, you'll definitely have time to clear a wave, take the enemy raptor, clear another wave, take your raptor, clear one last wave, and then push for plates or look for a solo kill. If you're playing a hyperscaling champion like Azir, for example, then this is going to be an even better playstyle. Now, Azir is just an example. I don't expect any of you to be able to play Azir, but the main idea is if you are playing a hyperscaling champion that can take raptors, you should definitely be doing it. Finally is ADC, and as ADC, it's not entirely up to you how your lane goes, but you definitely can dominate the lane phase while focusing on farm. In order to do this, the most important thing is to be playing equal with your support unless you can 1v2 the lane phase. If your support is playing super far back, then you should also be playing a little bit further back. But if your support is playing super aggressive, really in the enemy team's face, then you should also be playing further up. I see so many ADC players miss out on free kills simply because they are not playing on the same page as their support. If you're playing super far forward while your support is playing super far back, then you're probably going to die. But if you're playing super far back while your support is playing super far forward, then you're probably going to miss out on a kill. If you're able to get this concept down, then the only other thing that you need to worry about is farming as much as possible. Getting a last hit is much more important than trading damage on a carry unless you can secure that kill. As ADC, it is so important to be walking out of that laning phase with 8 or 9 CS per minute. If you're an ADC that can't do this, then go out and practice last hitting in a custom game or a training tool game. Remember, this playstyle, no matter which role it's for, is more about solo carrying, so you're going to want to be able to carry through those feeders on your team. Now, that is just about all that I have for you for today's video on a few tips that you can use in order to escape ELO hell. If you haven't already, then make sure to check out our website, GameLeap.com. Our website is the best learning tool out there to help you escape from ELO hell. There we've got hundreds of guides, all done by challenger players, sorted into a quick and easy to use courses system. We've got courses both on the 5 fundamental roles as well as champion specific courses. I've checked out a lot of the content on there myself personally, and I can honestly say it is all very high quality. So, what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description below and start improving your play today. As always, I'm Panther. I hope you learned something valuable, and I will see you in the next one.